I think everyone has some sort of a people-pleasing side, but it definitely seems to be much more pronounced in us ADHDers. Let's face it, we can be pretty addicted to saying yes, and then over time we can become swamped with all of these new responsibilities and tasks that we end up taking on. And overall, it can have a huge damage on our relationships because we end up saying yes so much that we put our own needs aside. So although we want to say no, we can often struggle with doing it in the right way because we don't want to disappoint people. So in this video, I'm going to break down how to say no without saying no. And finally, save yourself from feeling burned out. So I'll be upfront, there are some times to say the word no, and I'll get to those later on in the video. But as ADHDers, we can say yes way too often. So ADHDers can often say yes due to real enthusiasm. We can do it through people pleasing. We can do it because we're simply impulsive, or we can do it through low self-esteem and time blindness. There are many reasons why, as an ADHDer, we can say yes to people. The problem is that regardless of all of these things, this can lead to overwhelm and exhaustion. And it can feel like saying yes a lot will help people respect us when we do say no, because the idea is that if we say yes all the time, then when we do finally say no, they'll be like, okay, no problem, I understand, you say yes a lot, so don't worry about it. But it works the opposite way. Saying yes a lot actually devalues our yes. We teach people how to treat us, so we become someone who agrees to a lot of things, which means that we can become someone for other people to keep asking to do things. The thing is, this is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a good thing for people to trust you and rely on your support. The problem is that it can overstep the line and it can neglect our own needs. And over time, people expect us to fulfill those promises. And if we're saying yes to everything, we can end up dropping the ball on a lot of things. And that can lead to burnout, where we feel overwhelmed with all of the things that we have to do. There's a great quote, which is, half the troubles of this life can be traced to saying yes too quickly and not saying no soon enough. Saying yes can have many advantages, but saying no can bring a lot more opportunities than you think. So how can you say no without being an asshole? So there are lots of ways to say no without actually using the word no if you don't want to. You can say things such as, I don't feel that's the right fit for me. Thanks for the offer though. I'm not available for that, but thank you for thinking of me. Or thank you for the invitation, but I'm not able to come. Or I need to pass on this, but please keep me in mind for the future. Or I'm honored, but I have to decline this time around. You can say no in a soft way if you want to. Firstly, know your deal breakers and your boundaries. Know which things that you definitely do not want to do. You do not want to get involved with. There are certain lines in life that we just don't want to cross. So it's very important that you know yourself enough to know what is a deal breaker to you. Because despite us having deal breakers, we can still feel pressured in a moment to say yes to things that we don't want to do. But if you already know and are confident in what a deal breaker is and why it's a deal breaker to you, then it's much easier to have the internal confidence to know why you don't want to do the thing. Next is the 3-second rule. This is something that I teach every single one of my ADHD clients, is that having a 3-second rule, having a pause before any response, is really, really crucial. Practicing and getting that into your habits means that no matter what you do, no matter how your brain works, to pause for 3 seconds before responding to anything will help train your brain into producing a much stronger response, whether it's yes or no. Next, if something comes up that you do want to say no to, you can respond to any of those requests with negotiation rather than saying no straight away. So for example, you can say, unfortunately, that won't work for me. How about we try a different approach? Or, I'm not the best person for that. Maybe someone in the XYZ department would be better suited. Instead of giving a yes or a no, we can go into what I call data collection mode. This is where you're asking questions. This is where you take the time to formulate your response rather than giving a response straight away. And this actually works as a win-win to the other person as well, because you're able to get out your concerns, you'll be able to get all the information, and you're going to be able to come to a stronger yes or a stronger no. Remember, when someone is asking you to do something, you are not the only person that is able to do that task. So you don't have to be nice by saying yes to do it. There is other options. So spending the time in negotiation mode, you're able to figure out whether you are the best person for the job, whether you do have the time for it, or whether there is someone who is better suited to doing it. Next, you can delay your response if you need to. On any yes, no, maybe, if you don't need to make a decision then and there. So you can simply say, hey, I have everything I think I need to make a decision. However, I need some time to think about it. Can I get back to you by tomorrow? And if you do delay your response, just make sure that you give yourself a time limit in order to give a response back to them. So if you need a day, then say, hey, can I get back to you tomorrow? As ADHDers, we can impulsively want to make a decision then and there, but it's actually a skill that we can develop in delaying our response. And if you're interested in more relationship and communication skills, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel for new videos every single week. So if you don't want to use the word no, just make sure that you're not saying no, but with a time component to it. So for example, don't say things such as not at the moment, or I can't do it right now. For example, if you say not at the moment, it can feel like we're saying no, but what we're actually saying is yes, just in the future. So instead of saying not at the moment, say my plate is full and I won't be able to help. Or instead of saying not right now, just say, I'm going to hold off on that. I'll let you know if anything changes. This is where you're still owning the decision. You're still saying this decision is mine and I will let you know if I want to say yes in the future. When you do want to say no to something, make sure that you're unconditional when you're saying no. Be all in on the yes or be all out. And this will stop you from making hasty decisions or being flaky with people. This is why it's important to think about it and come to an actual decision. So for example, don't think to yourself, I'm going to say no now, but I may change my mind in a month's time, or I may change my mind in a week's time. Make sure that when you're saying no, that you're being unconditional. There's no ifs or buts. There's no sitting on the fence. You're saying no to it, and that's okay. Be all in on the yes or be all out. This may sound a little bit ruthless, but this actually stops you from making hasty, impulsive decisions or being flaky with people. It means that you are making a categorical decision. And this is why it's important to take the time to think about it and process it and get the information that you need to come to an actual decision. And what this does is this actually builds trust in you from other people, because people will know that you are all in or all out. There's no last minute letdown. There's no texting last minute and saying, hey, I actually changed my mind. You take the time to gather all the important information you need in order to make a definitive yes or no. And this strengthens your yes. This means that when you do say yes to things, people know that you are going to do it. People will be able to trust and rely that your yes means yes and your no means no. Next, if you want to say no, make sure you keep it short without any sort of justification. Once you've made up your mind, there's no real need to justify your reason other than that you want to say no, that you want to decline. And sometimes justifying can actually make it sound like there's more room for negotiation. For example, if you say, oh no, I can't come to the party because I've got the kids tonight, then what people can actually hear is, oh, if they don't have the kids, then actually it's a yes. So let me figure out how I can get a babysitter for the kids so therefore they can actually come. Sometimes justifying that no makes it sound like it is a yes, but you have some other outside reason that is holding you back. So in this example, it could be more of a, hey, I would love to come tonight, but I'm going to pass this time around. The difference is that is not justifying your decision. That is saying, this is still my decision. I'm making a choice on this because I'm wanting to do something else, but I'm still interested in maybe doing it another night. So there are, of course, times to actually use the word no. There's an author called Megan Laboutier who wrote a book called No is a Complete Sentence. And I think that it's a really important line to remember in many different contexts. But no in itself is okay. You don't need to justify your no. So how or when do you say the word no? First of all, saying no is about following your gut. If someone wants you to do something illegal or unethical against your values, say no quickly and firmly without any room for discussion. You can be confident in knowing that it doesn't have to be a discussion. This is where knowing your boundaries, knowing your deal breakers is really useful. The deeper you know yourself and your boundaries, the easier it will be to be able to say no and to be able to walk away from that confidently. Next is what is called the 2x rule. The 2x rule is if you've said the word no twice and you still feel pressure to justify or give a response, then this is where I would suggest to get away from the person asking. In high pressure situations, a lot of people can cave and say yes after the third request or stop saying no after the third request. So getting away from the person asking the question so you don't have to be in that high pressure situation anymore is really, really crucial. The next advice that I would give is if you struggle to say no, make sure that you practice small. We can all struggle with setting boundaries and saying no with people. But this is a skill that we can simply practice. Practice with a friend in small stakes situations and build up to bigger no's. The more that you practice saying no to some of the smaller things that you don't necessarily want to do, the easier it becomes to be able to say no to bigger things. The more that we can say no, the more that we raise the value of our yes. All relationships thrive on good communication skills. And these are skills that can be learned. And if you want a deeper dive into the most crucial communication skill of all, then I will leave you with this video right here. I'll see you over there.